So this is the instructor for this course. Okay, let's continue with this condition. So before beginning to count with the count input, reset the counter by turning the reset input from off to on to off. So what it means, so if we want to control our system, so first thing we need to reset the system. So by pressing the reset input first, and then it will count the system continuously depending on the count input. So if you press the reset button, so counter PV will set the value to 5 equivalent to set value. So normal condition, when you press the reset button, counter PV will show 5 BCD, and if the system receive the count input for the first signal, counter PV will start to count down. So the counter PV will show the value as 4 BCD. So next incoming input, it will show 3 BCD. Third incoming input, counter PV will show 2 BCD, meaning that 3 BCD minus another single input, it will become 2 BCD. And for the fourth signal input, it will show 1 BCD. If the system receives 5 incoming input, counter PV will show 0 BCD. While 0 BCD for the counter in PV, the completion flag will be triggered. It will remain active high until you press the reset button. Okay, so what happens if we activate our reset button and also count input simultaneously? For example, considering the first reset input is triggered, so counter PV will show 5 BCD, and then counter instruction receive single input, so counter PV will start to count down from 5 to 4 BCD. Next, second input, counter PV will show 3 BCD. For this condition, if we press the reset input and count input simultaneously, what happened to the counter PV? So the third, fourth, and fifth signal triggered at the same time as reset input. So the counter PV will show 5 BCD when the reset input is activated. This is due to the system is dominant off condition. So another input known as the 6, 7, and also 8 input. Currently, when the reset input had been turned off, so counter PV will receive this as a first input. So counter PV will count down from 5 to 4. So next from 4 to 3, and next from 3 to 2 BCD. There are no completion flag activated due to the last signal received is 0, is 2 BCD. Okay, let's do the simulation for this condition. So the first one, we need to trigger the reset input. By triggering the reset input, counter PV will be dominant off or dominant reset. So it will show the BCD value as set value number. So we release the stop push button, and then we triggered 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 count input. The first one, so BCD number will drop to 4. The second input, BCD number will drop to 3. Third input, BCD number will drop to 2. Fourth input, BCD number will drop to 1 BCD. And for the fifth input, counter PV will show 0 BCD and activated the completion flag. So fifth input, counter PV shows 0 BCD. The completion flag C000 will be activated and triggered the lamp 1 until we press the reset push button. So if I press the stop push button, counter PV will show 5 BCD. So this one is 5 BCD and completion flag will be turned off. Okay, let's see the second condition if we triggered reset input and count input simultaneously. So for the first one, we need to activate the reset input. So this one is to reset the counter PV, and then we need to release the stop push button. So counter PV will show 5 BCD. So this one is 5 BCD. For first incoming input, counter PV will count down and it will show 4 BCD. So the second input signal, for the first input signal, it will show 4 BCD. Second input signal, it will show 3 BCD. So what happened if I triggered the reset button for these 3 incoming input? If I triggered the reset, counter PV will be reset and it will show 5 BCD number here. So if the counter instruction receive 3 incoming input, it will remain reset. So second, there are nothing changes here. Third incoming input, there are nothing here. So if we release the stop push button and activated signal number 6, 7 and 8. So this one is 6 input signal. So counter PV will start to count down from 5 BCD to 4 BCD. And then next signal number 7, counter PV will drop to 3 BCD. And then signal number 8, counter PV will drop to 2 BCD. However, nothing changes here to the counter completion flag due to the last BCD number is 2. So this one is 2 BCD. So counter completion flag still deactivated and nothing happened to the lamp.